Hi everyone, back to video number 3. At the end of the last video that I completed, I was making a comment that I could not actually get rid of this drop down menu within the design area. Just to let you know, I did actually find how to do it, and it is actually very simple, so I don't quite know how I missed it. It's got nothing to do with going through the app structure over here. It's literally as simple as just clicking on the actual drop down itself and it'll drop itself back in, and click it again and it brings itself back out. So that's not exactly an issue as I'd made it out to be. What I want to try and do next is I'd like to add a slideshow somewhere, probably right underneath my navigation over here. So it'll go the navigation, then the slideshow, then the actual textual items. So I'm going to need AppConnect for that. So let's go here and add to our actual app structure the component. Sorry, I need the framework. I'm going to go here to AppConnect, which will obviously convert that to an app over there. And if I go to code view, you'll see that the body says is the MX app. So I know that I've gone into the correct thing. Let's click on this actual container because I'd again like the slideshow to be filling the entire screen. I'll actually put this to full screen for you so you can see. Click the little plus symbol over here. I've got data, I've got various things, I've got slideshow over here, and as you can see that literally just put a slideshow one over there, which is just a totally and utterly empty thing like that, basically just a container. I'm going to remove that because that was actually not a requirement. So where I personally would start off with doing something like this is I would go to my server connect. I'm going to make a database connection because I'm going to be pulling all the pictures in from my database. The reason why I've chosen to do that, to be very honest with you, is actually because I did not find that the slideshow component was working without making a database connection whatsoever. It doesn't seem to work on the local. Just to show you this, if I go to slideshow here and actually bring in a proper slideshow, let's just leave that at slideshow 1, default theme, delay of 4000. I'll leave all that as is just so you can see. I'll leave the use imagery sizer on and the auto generate, so I've effectively done nothing to it. When I click on this add images folder, this is where I run into a problem here. Obviously nothing comes up within that window, so nothing is actually selectable. Close that down. Just going to remove this component again. Okay, so we'll start off with server actions, creating a new folder. I will just call this design elements. That, add a new action within there. I'll call this get home slide show images. It doesn't seem to actually be a problem with using dashes within the name on that side of things. However, as you're going through here, it really does become an issue. You need to replace dashes rather with underscores, or it's just not actually going to work. Let's start off by going to steps. I'm going to make a database connection first. So database actions, add a database connection. I will call this con underscore Wepler water. Connection options. Database type is my first choice. MySQL is what I'll connect up to. I know that the server address for my particular thing is, that is localhost, because obviously it's on the same web server. If the database was hosted on a totally separate web server, then obviously you would need to put an IP address of that. 3306 is the port that I'm going to be using. The actual database, I'll better just check it. The database is called Learning Wepler. And if you had to go and look at the physical database through the cPanel over here, just to see what all the naming conventions are, the database name is Learning Wappler, and the privileged user is also Learning Wappler. Go back to Wappler. So database will be learning dash. Let's make sure that no, it's underscore. Learning underscore Wappler. The username be learning underscore Wappler, and the password is still showing here as I type it. However, I will blank this out as I go. Test the connection. Database connection is okay, and obviously I can go okay to that. At this point, I can't actually do my database queries yet because within my database I haven't actually added anything. So I'm going to go there quickly and add it, and that way you can actually watch me do it and see exactly what I'm doing, and I'll try and explain as I go why I'm doing certain things. Let me just call this up quickly. Okay, so here we're going to create our new table, and I'm just going to call this something a little bit odd. Let's see. I'm going to be calling this Wappler underscore slideshow underscore table, and we need to choose how many actual columns we're going to have. I'm going to have an ID column, which will be the identifier for it. Then within the actual GUI of Wappler, they ask for certain things such as the source, the image, the thumb, the title, the description, and the link, I think. So I'm going to need at least 5 for Wappler plus 1 for myself. So let's just go ahead and create it with 6. I like to always use the InnoDB storage engine in case I need to add any foreign keys to my tables at some point. So that's generally why I do it. So let me start off by calling this W for Wappler slideshow, and let's go with ID. Okay, then we're going to go W for Wappler slideshow, and here we're going to go image. Yeah, Wappler slideshow. Call this thumb, although I won't actually be using that. Wappler slideshow underscore title, just so we can test things out. Wappler slideshow underscore description, and lastly we'll have Wappler underscore slideshow link. This particular one is going to be an integer, and I'm going to make this auto increment, which will automatically turn the index into a primary key. So I will have to say OK to this, which is going to create a primary key for me. All the rest of these I'm going to turn into varchar types, because they are all variable characters, and I'm going to make them something fairly large, considering I actually have no clue how much I'm going to land up putting into these various things. This obviously is not a very optimized style of table, but for the purposes of showing you, this should work out fine. Everything else seems to be perfect. Let's save that. Now we're going to have to put a few things into this to start it off. So let's just do a quick insert here. And I've got inside my images folder, you'll notice obviously I didn't start with a / there, as per how Wappler did it. And one of my image names is group of abstract water bottles. Excuse my spelling in certain places. My second one is going to be images directory / group dash of dash water dash bottles dash pack dash shot, and that again is another JPG image type. The thumb, I honestly have never particularly used that before, so I'm not that certain of what that is. The title, I'm just going to say this is a pretty picture. Some of these I will leave blank in order to see what a null value would do. This particular one, I think I'll do the title and the description as well as the link. This is the description for pretty picture. And then lastly, we'll do a link. This will just be a dummy link to an internal page of our website. So let's say that this particular one takes us to our products page, and obviously within this product page we'll have an index PHP, index HTML, index HTML, any of the base ones that are going to take us there. This one I'm only going to add a title just so I can actually test what it does. Amazing image, and let's just say go to all that. Go back to browse over here. I've got 2 images in there. I'd like to possibly do 4 images because I need to try out various other things, so I'll just rather copy those to duplicate them. Let's name the next one. Gotcha. Excuse my spelling as I said earlier. Water bottling plant. And this one over here. Again, another JPG file. Water dash bottles dash abstract dash perspective. And on this one I'm going to make it only a description. Amazing image description. And on this one I'm going to have just a title, and this will take me to products B, let's say. Actually, let's make this an external link. Like that. End it with a trailing /, and I'm going to change this water bottles next link. And let go. Should now have 4 within here, so that all seems fine. Back to Wappler, I'm now going to do a database query. It's telling me that I need to save it first. It did the save for me. We'll just carry on with add a database query again. I will call this query for slideshow. As you can see, I'm using underscores in this area. As you can also see, I left the checkbox on the output because obviously it's a database query, so I have to have something. Choose my table, choose what rows I need. For these purposes, I'm just going to take the entire table with every single row. There will be no conditions set to this, and the sorting, there's no real point on doing sorting in this particular case, but if you wanted to, you could sort by the title. They don't all unfortunately have titles, so I would have to say that we'd sort by the ID, and we can do that in an ascending or a descending manner. So if you just click in there, you can choose descending, click over there, you choose ascending. As you can see here, it's changed over there. When you go there, you have to click off it in order for it to actually make that alteration. So for now, let's just say descending, go OK to that. Going to save that. Wait for that to run. Okay, so at this point, I think that we need to save the physical document itself as well, and in my opinion it would be a great idea to actually publish at this point because I'm not sure what is not on there. As far as I know, before adding this AppConnect, we didn't have this particular directory or that directory or that directory for that matter. We could have possibly had one of these other ones. I'm not 100% certain, although for our purposes, let's just quickly check on the file manager what is there now. Public HTML, beta 27. So really we've got all of those in there. However, there could be parts within there that aren't. So let's publish and make sure that we are 100% up to date. Those things really do not work. Uploaded 6 and downloaded 0 kilobytes. So something had to have changed there. Let's go over here, add to this, and where we, sorry, I clicked that button again by mistake. Delete that. Before we begin, what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to link up the AppConnect with the Server Connect. So to start off with on this whole thing, we're first going to have to add this data Server Connect over here. As far as I'm aware, we do not need to add a repeat region because I think that the slideshow actually does the repeat region side of it on our behalf. I like to rename these, so I'm just going to go SC for Server Connect, slideshow, and I'll make sure that I know that this is for the home page. Select my action. My action will be the new query that I did, so select that. No auto load would be a bit of a problem if I turn that on, so I'm not going to have that on. I don't personally like where it's actually put the Server Connect component. I would prefer it generally underneath the actual footer, although it doesn't seem like I can move it directly through there, but I can move the section above it and the footer above that. So the Server Connect command should now be right at the end over there, which is great. That's what I would like. From here, I'm finally going to go to that area, and let's go and add in our actual slideshow. I'm going to call this SS home page. Default theme 4000. We're going to put on the show next and previous. Going to put on the paging for now. I'm going to put on the pause on hover, and I'm going to tell it that I'm going to use dynamic slides. The slide source I need to set, and the slide source is actually the Server Connect component that we added over here, and it's not going to be any particular one of these. It's going to actually be the query itself as far as I'm aware. So we're going to go with that as the query. Then we choose our image, that is the image out of the query. We choose our title, it's the title. We choose our description, it's the description, and we choose our link. So those are all selected now. Let's save this out. And let's publish this. And I'm going to go to code view, up to my head section, click somewhere within there, go back to design. I can see that something is happening over here, so something is possibly a little bit incorrect. I'd like to just take all of this for my own purposes and upload it. What I could have possibly done wrong is chosen the incorrect slideshow source. That is what I would suspect that has gone wrong. So I'm just going to go to the actual website quickly and check it for myself. As you can see, all we have is the 2 physical arrows, so that's not really helping us. So let's just quickly go and check out what I did with that slideshow as far as the source was concerned. Slide source. Instead of choosing that actual slideshow over there, I'm going to try by selecting the data section. Save that. Go to code, there, back to design. Let's quickly publish. Sometimes this can be a bit tricky figuring out exactly what DMX zone is wanting, or WAPLA in this particular case is wanting. I can't really see a reason why I would need to choose anything that wasn't the actual Server Connect section. However, for what I'm aware, if I put that on data, I may have to change this. Let's just quickly try this, because now it is query for slideshow 0 as opposed to just that. Although it does seem a bit weird. I don't think that that would be the case, but let's try it out anyway. Title, description, as you can see, all of those are now changing. And a link. Save. Code view, back to design view. I'm still seeing nothing here. I would suspect that it's also not showing on the server. Check. No, still nothing on the server. So let's go through this again. My slide source, it could be the entire query. It's highly doubtful unless it's actually that. Let's try that for a moment. So I'm just taking the actual data. Image will now be slightly different. Query for slideshow 0, query for slideshow 0. That is data. Try that one. That's the same. That is the same. Okay, so let's try that one. No, no, and no. Try this again. The other thing that it could actually be is that even though I've published and I saved my file, I cannot actually recall for the life of me if I had gone ahead and saved my server connect over here. So let's hit save to this quickly. We'll publish one more time. Go back to code view, click in the head, go back to design. It doesn't seem to have done it. Let's check here. That's certainly not. Last idea. Pull that again. Upload it. Take that one, that is all correct. This home page, there's my slideshow. Unfortunately, quite often these kind of things happen. As it turns out, I think that I've actually set this all up 100% correctly, where I have made my server connect, done my query, I've selected the correct query for the actual images, I've selected all the correct stuff over here, it's all saved, it's all uploaded to the server, and I've tested this over and over and over again. What actually turns out to be the problem here was actually this. My naming of this, BOTTEL, I had named the image LE as opposed to EL. So I'm just going to adjust that. I'm going to go back to here and save this. And I'm going to publish this. Go back to my code view, click somewhere in the head, click back on my design, and as you've seen in previous tutorials, I've had to often close things, reopen them, and as you can see now, all of a sudden it's showing up. Let's go and view that in the actual web browser, and now you can see it's picked up straight away without even a refresh. So amazing image description goes over there. I can't actually see my white arrow in certain places. Water bottles with external link. Amazing image. This is a pretty picture. This is the description for my pretty picture. So that is how things are actually showing up I'm going to have to go and choose a theme in order to get these buttons to look a little bit better than that. So let's go back to Wappler, let's click on our actual slideshow over here, and I want to choose a theme for this. So we're going to go from default, let's say, to dark as a theme, and it seems to have gone away. Let's go to code, click in the head, back to design, click back on our slideshow, and the theme is back to default. I have actually seen this problem once or twice before with DMX products, and it seems to be that the last time I had this problem was also on slideshow. So what I would suspect anyway is that this particular default.css here is not altering when we actually make the change over here. So if I have that selected and I'm in code view, change from default to, let's say, light, I don't see any alteration in there. If I click back to design and back to code again, it's still sitting at default. If I click off this and back on it, you can see it's going back to default. Try minimal, and once again it hasn't actually made that alteration. It may possibly need me to do a save immediately after putting in the dark. Let's try that out. Back to design, back to code, and we're still sitting on default over there. The only way around this that I found last time was to go to, I think it was DMX Connect. Actually, I can tell you straight from here, DMX App Connect. So we're going to go here. We are then going to go to the DMX slideshow, which is there. We're going to go to the themes folder, and we're just going to have to type it into the code ourselves. So if I want a dark theme, I'm going to have to change it over here to dark, save that. Back to design view, and all of a sudden you can see now that it's actually picked up the dark correctly. I'll go back to the website, refresh this, refresh again. Let's pick up the dark theme. Okay, hold on, I haven't published. Let's publish once again. Okay, uploaded 7 and downloaded 0. Let's go back here, refresh, there we go. Our dark theme is now put in place. I don't personally like the paging over here. I'm going to go back here and turn that paging off. Click that off, back to code, click in the head, back to design, the paging is now gone, save it, publish it. Once it's finished publishing, and check it one last time in the website. Okay, paging is now gone. So now we have the green header up there with our logo and slogan. We've got our links over here with the drop down. We've got the links over there. We've got our slideshow, which is hooked up to our database. We've got all the descriptions and titles, and I would make an assumption that if I went here and added, say, a title to this one, I'm just going to add something like X's. That change should immediately be affected within here, and there you have it. Okay, so from here, I think we're coming to the end of this video. I'd like to just quickly show you how to change some of these transitions. You can see as my mouse is hovered over this particular image, it is respecting what we said, which was to stop the image from sliding. If I had to hover off that particular image, I would assume that the slideshow would start again, as it has. So that all seems to be working out well. If I wanted to change from something simple like slide to fade, as an example, I could go here to the slideshow. I could go to transitions, and over here I've got fade or I've got slide. So it should be as simple as choosing fade. Should be able to save that, publish that, and let's go and quickly check it in the website. So hopefully that should now have a fade transition between them instead of the slide transition. and that all seems to be working correctly. You know, it's a case of just fiddling around with the various things at this point, because I mean, you have plenty more things here. So let's try one of the 3D transitions, maybe this cube as an example. You can click on that and you can change certain parameters of cube. I'm going to leave it as the default, save it, publish it, just to check if it actually works within Wappler itself. Let me just click in my head, go back to design, and let's just see if it transitions like we asked it to. Yeah, it is. So obviously it's probably going to work on the website as well. In the next video, I will be trying to expand upon everything that I've shown you here and see if there's some other things that we can do, maybe with some other components obviously. But yeah, I think that this is going to help everyone so long. Please remember to like and subscribe to the video if you are enjoying these. This one I've done a little bit differently, so there might be a lot more background noise unfortunately, but editing time was taking absolute ages by doing the video as one thing, overlaying the audio in a totally quiet environment, etc. So yeah, you will have my dog barking in the background, unfortunately not as badly, and you'll have much more of me saying and babbling around, but I think it's still a bit of a smoother experience. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed.